Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 18th of September, Monday, so I wish you a great, wonderful new week. Now it's 10 past 11 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Ramsan Kadyrov and this is my first update for the day in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages for this moment. There are quite a few very interesting developments and news that I like to share with you for this moment. But before I start, let me share with you information about yesterday's live stream, my second live stream on this channel. And if you didn't see it and are interested, you can watch the live stream. You can watch that video on my page. If you click here on this category live, you can see these two videos, first live stream and second one. Yesterday we had quite interesting conversation, members of our community. We did spoke about some news, some political stuff, and also I did share some information about my personal life, my story, if I may say this way. It was interesting and well, additional experience to me to work with the programs that I'm using during these live streams, and I guess several more live streams, and I will be somewhat ready to invite guests on the show. So maybe it will happen even before end of this month, next week, for example. But let's see how it goes. I'm not quite sure about it yet. But now let's talk about news. And first of all, short summary of the situation on the battlefield. During the previous night, Russian side conducted yet another drone and missile strikes on military and logistical infrastructure of Kiev regime in several directions. During the day, Russian Defense Ministry will probably share with us additional information about these strikes, and of course I will report about it on my Telegram page and in next update. When it comes to a situation on the line of contact, let's start from southern sectors, Kherson, and then up to northern ones. So in Kherson region, nothing is happening that will influence overall situation on this sector. It's artillery duels, mainly drone strikes, and a constant fight for control over these small islands on the Dnieper and delta of the Dnieper river. And lately, I almost on daily basis sharing videos of destruction of Ukrainian speedboats while they are trying to conduct some amphibious war on one of the amphibious operation on one of the islands or reinforce units on the islands. Yesterday was not exception, and you can see on my Telegram page a video of yet another Ukrainian boat being destroyed, probably with munition, because its secondary explosions on the boat clearly can be seen. So well, but overall situation is deadlock, I will say, or operational pause. Only question when it comes to Kherson region is why Kiev regime declared evacuation in Kherson region. Is it because they have information that Russian side is preparing large-scale offensive operations, or is it because Ukrainian side itself are planning mass crossing of the Dnieper river? For this moment, we can only guess, because there is not enough information. But if it's up to me, then I will say most likely Ukrainian side is preparing mass crossing of Dnieper river simultaneously with the second wave of Ukrainian counteroffensive in Zaporozhye and South Donetsk sectors of the front line, main axis of Ukrainian so-called counteroffensive, if that second wave even will take place. But anyway, let's talk now about Zaporozhye and South Donetsk sectors. Main hotspot in Zaporozhye sector is, of course, Orekhov bridgehead. And here, Ukrainian side is quite passive lately. They are trying to concentrate as much forces as they possibly can, I guess, in these sectors of the front. And what is new is that Russian side did conduct some local scale offensive operations in this bridgehead. I guess that was reckoning force operations, just to check how well prepared Ukrainian positions are and how strong Ukrainian positions are. But yet again, nothing is happening right now on this sector of the front that will influence overall situation in immediate future. But yet again, we should remember that Ukrainian side, if Kiev regime wants to conduct second wave of counteroffensive, has only about 2-3 weeks left before rainy season begins, after which this steppe area will become unpenetratable for any vehicles, civilian, military, no matter. This will become unusable for equipment, and same goes for country roads that will turn into rivers of mud. When it comes to South Donetsk direction, also no significant changes. Local scale skirmishes, local scale recon operations by both sides, and artillery duels. Nothing in the scale that will influence overall situation on this sector. When it comes to Donetsk direction, Donetsk sector of the front line, on the southern flank, where main hotspots are Marinka, Konstantinovka, Krasnogorovka, and Avdiivka, artillery duels, local scale recon operations. Nothing in the scale that will influence situation in this flank of Donetsk sector. But when it comes to northern flank, Bakhmut and surrounding areas, we have some changes. Seems like, according to videos that are circulating in internet, seems like Ukrainian side, after at least 3 months of these local scale offensives on the southern flank of Bakhmut and several destroyed Ukrainian brigades finally did manage to establish control over the Kleshcheevka settlement, or at least we can call Kleshcheevka under partial control of Ukrainian forces, because there are some video footage in internet that they are in control of this settlement, at least partially. Northern part of Kleshcheevka, we may, before railway, by the way, we may probably call in a gray zone, but rest of the settlement, I guess, under control of Ukrainian forces, like Andreevka, by the way. I did report about Andreevka yesterday. So after 3 months, at least 3 months of these local scale counteroffensives and thousands of sacrificed military personnel, Kiev regime finally did manage to establish control over these 2 settlements. I will say this was a catastrophic failure, entire this operation to encircle Bakhmut and these offensives on the southern and northern flank of Bakhmut. But I guess Ukrainian side and Western media will try to make from this something bigger than it is now. In reality, they will probably make big celebration that they finally did manage to establish control over these settlements. Question is now, will Ukrainian forces redeploy their forces from southern flank towards northern flank, and will they continue renew their offensives in direction of Dubovo-Vasilievka, Berkhovka and Yakhidnaya, or they will try to conduct offensive in direction of Kurdyumovka? Time will tell. In next several days we will probably learn more about this situation on the southern flank of Bakhmut. When it comes to northern flank, no significant changes. Initiative is in Russian hands, but because generals in Ukraine's general staff has some obsession with Bakhmut, and they did sacrifice tens of thousands of lives of Ukrainian army during the battles for Bakhmut. I would not be surprised if they will send additional thousands and thousands of Ukrainian soldiers to die in direction of Bakhmut. Anything is possible when we are talking about those criminals and mass murderers that are running and ruining Ukraine, including Ukrainian army, by the way. So overall, nothing is happening in the northern sector of the front line that will influence situation on this sector in any more or less significant way. And when it comes to northern sectors from Seversk to Kupiansk, it's operational pause. Yesterday during the stream, one of the members of our community did ask me a question, why Russian side stopped its offensives on the northern sectors in Kupiansk direction. And well, it's an interesting question, because from side you may think, I mean, during the months or two, we constantly did hear about successful local scale offensives of Russian forces. And lately, we did not see that many informations about Russian local scale offensive operations. And I have an explanation for this. By the way, Russian forces are in a few kilometers away from Kupiansk itself. So to continue offensive operation, you have to conduct large-scale operation, because everything that was possible to achieve with small local-scale offensives, Russian side did achieve already. And next step is large-scale offensive operation. And to conduct such operation, you need green light from general staff. These officers on the ground here cannot make such decisions, because we are talking about really large scale of offensive operation. And well, will Russian Defense Ministry or will Moscow green light large scale Russian offensive in next 2-3 weeks time before rainy season begins? I don't know. I don't know, by the way. I doubt that we will see large-scale Russian offensive this autumn, but I may be mistaken. But in my understanding, 2-3 weeks, not enough time. 2-3, maximum 4 weeks before rainy season begins. It's not enough time, by the way. But who knows? Who knows? And this is it when it comes to short summary of the situation on the front line. Nothing is happening in the scale that can be called a breakthrough for anyone side at this moment. It's operational pause all along. And before I continue with some additional news, let me remind you, if I may, that this channel, all the channels, by the way, that I'm working on YouTube, on Rumble and Telegram exists solely thanks to support of members of our community, and I will be immensely grateful if you will also consider to support this project and my work with small donations through PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. I will be immensely grateful for this. You can see links, by the way, under this video in the description box or in the pinned comment. I hate to be honest when I'm talking about these donations and stuff, but I have to. It is what it is, man. Lately, I do more often thinking that I'm wasting my time by doing this, by working for this channels and trying to develop, to make something out of it. Maybe it will be better if I start looking for a proper job, man, because I'm spending, I don't know, man, 14, 15, 16 hours a day. For what, really? But anyway, let's continue. By the way, don't get me wrong, I'm immensely grateful for all the support and attention that I'm getting, but I have obligations before my family, first of all, and it's difficult to, be entirely dependent on this project. But anyway, let's continue. RIA Novosti is reporting that, and today, by the way, maybe exactly that day when I'm questioning myself, am I doing right stuff, or maybe it's gonna be better if I start looking for a job to have some stable income to, you know. It's difficult, man. It's difficult to be rely on internet project, on support of members of our community, because none of us are millionaires, by the way. I do get that. And you know, let's continue. And RIA Novosti is reporting that there was explosions in Ismail city in Odessa region, which is right next to Danube River, by the way. Here, this is Ismail city, and a port city on Danube River that are bordering also Romania. And during the previous night, as I said, as I mentioned in the beginning, Russian side conducted drone and missile strikes in the direction of several regions to destruct and destroy logistical lines of Ukrainian forces and military infrastructure. And Ismail direction was one of their main one, I guess. I wouldn't be surprised if Kiev will make statements that one of the drones or missiles did fail on Romanian territory. Let's see what reactions we'll get from Kiev or from Bucharest. Also, RIA Novosti is reporting that Russian aviation during the previous days, by the way, during one of the strikes, did targeted Kharkov tank manufacturing plant. Historic plant, by the way, plant that was involved in production of T-34s, legendary Soviet tank of World War II. And in Kharkov plant, lately T-64s was produced, and its durations, and all the Ukrainian tanks that was built after Soviet Union collapse basically are based on engineering development of T-64 tanks. And I guess this factory became target because they were actively involved in repair of damaged Ukrainian armored vehicles. And because this plant is huge, it's massive, I guess this type of strikes from Russian side will continue in the future, also to make sure that this plant has no capacities to repair or to produce any military equipment whatsoever. Also, RIA Novosti is reporting that Lavrov did make statement. I guess you are familiar with this because this statement was made yesterday afternoon. Lavrov did make statement that the US is basically operating or leading military operations of Ukraine. US is basically leading this war against Russia. Very strong statements from Foreign Minister of Russian Federation. Of course, we all know that US and UK are very much involved in these operations of Ukrainian side. Question is what Moscow can do about it without risking direct confrontation with US or UK or NATO. Not that many options, isn't it? And by the way, right now, RIA Novosti in real time, by the way, this is happening in real time. We have a report on RIA Novosti also that Georgia's security services did report that regime change has been prepared in Georgia, or coup. And according to Georgia's secret services, there are some groups in Georgia that are planning to conduct to destabilize country and conduct coup in October-December period. And according to Georgian Secret Services, one of the leaders of this group is Georgi Lord Kipanidze, who was deputy of head of Interior Ministry of Internal Affairs during the Saakashvili's reign. So, and also, by the way, head of so-called Georgian Legion that is fighting in Ukraine, Mamuka Mamulashvili. So very serious statements are coming from Georgia right now as I'm recording this video. I guess Georgia's Secret Services do have evidences. Otherwise, this type of statements would not be made. And of course, I will share additional news on my Telegram and on next updates. But I'm not at all surprised to read this information, because I'm quite sure Washington will do everything to destabilize Georgia and to conduct regime change there. And I did spoke about it many times before. Washington and the so-called Western elites are not happy with current government of Georgia, because they are not sacrificing Georgia and interests of Georgian citizens for geopolitical interests of Western elites, and they are not. And Tbilisi, capital of Georgia, is not escalating with Moscow. There was an attempt to destabilize Georgia and conduct regime change several months ago in Georgia, and I'm afraid there are high risks that something like that will take place in this autumn also, as Georgia's Secret Services just stated. But let's see how situation develop. Now let's continue with some other news. TASS news agency is reporting that Zelensky, during his interview with CBS TV station, said that for Ukraine it's unacceptable to achieve peace by expense of territories. And he did make this kind of statement, not the first time, but who cares about what Zelensky has to say, man? When it comes to real decision makers, do they even care about this clown? Of course not, man. This puppet will do whatever he is told to do. But at least for now, that's the official position of Kiev regime, that for them it's unacceptable to achieve peace by losing territories. Let's continue. TASS news agency also reporting that according to Wall Street Journal's information article, Ukraine is, or Kiev regime, by the way, is actively looking for additional funds to continue military operations. Well, I guess Zelensky and his associates are looking for additional funds because they want some more homes, man. They want some more billions to buy some nice homes, nice cars. Do they care about Ukrainians? I don't think so. And no one thinks so, I guess. But they will receive funds. I'm quite sure the so-called Western elites quite happily will deliver additional billions to Zelensky and his associates on expense of taxpayers of European states and US and so on. Let's continue. RIA Novosti is reporting that according to Pentagon, head of Pentagon, by the way, Mark Milley, Ukrainian counteroffensive will not allow Kiev to regain control over the lost territories. Well, too little too late, isn't it, to make such a statement when everyone in this world understands by now that this Ukrainian so-called counteroffensive is a total failure and disaster. But, well, Mark Milley, for whatever reason, during the interview with CNN, made decision to say about this right now. Well, he can also say that Washington is the capital of US or Moscow is the capital of Russia, because that's obvious stuff. And if he is beginning to talk obvious stuff for everybody, then, well, he has quite a field there of topics that he can say, and he will be absolutely correct. RT is reporting that this one more clown, by the way, Jens Stoltenberg, head of NATO, made a statement that and warned basically NATO member states to get ready for a long war. And well, nothing new really. I guess societies in the Western states, in NATO member states, probably are agreed to pay for prolongation of this conflict from their pockets, because I did not see any more or less significant scale of protests in Europe or in US against Western involvement of this in this conflict. So yes, this statement of Stoltenberg definitely means that more weapons will be sent to Zelensky's regime, more money will be sent to Zelensky's regime to make sure that Russian side will be forced to neutralize all the more or less battle-ready units of Ukrainian army, so that when Poland and some other NATO member states will try to establish control over the western regions, they will receive as minimal resistance as possible. Basically, what Western so-called elites are doing is they are exterminating military age men in Ukraine. That's what they are doing. And that's why I think that fairly soon we will probably see waves of Ukrainian military age refugees in Europe have been sent back to Ukraine. I'm quite sure about it, because of course Western elites also will try to make sure that they will have a minimal resistance on their own soil also in Europe. And best decision those people, those military age men that are in Europe now, best decision they can make is to flee for Russia. And if they are not involved in neo-Nazi organizations, if they didn't commit any crimes, they will find a safe place in Russia for sure. TASS News Agency is also reporting that Erdogan did made the statements about Ukrainian conflict, and he said that this conflict will end. Without losers, which is maybe, I mean, diplomatic way to say that some compromises will be found during the negotiations. But by the way, after this conflict will end, there will be no more Ukraine as a state. So Ukraine, modern current Ukraine that still exists, will lose everything, including its statehood. That's what will happen. And the Western so-called elites already lost. So there is losers in this conflict already. It's Western elites, it's NATO and Ukraine. Like it or not, but that's the case. That's how the world sees this. Let's continue. RIA Novosti is reporting that yet another US 5th gen fighter F-35 end up crashing. Pilot did manage to escape. This happened in US, in South Carolina. How you say, South Carolina or South Carolina state? Pilot did manage to eject from the plane, but this accident itself once again highlights how unreliable these F-35s really are, despite over $1 trillion that was spent to develop this basically. I don't know, man. You tell me what this plane is, man. F-15, in my understanding, is better than F-35 in every ways. F-16, by the way, even better than modern new types of F-16. F-16s are much better and much cheaper than F-35s. Entire this project of F-35 is just a scam, by the way. U.S. military industrial complex and Lockheed Martin, if I'm not mistaken, is producing these planes. They'd conduct the biggest scam in history of military industrial complex when they received, I don't know, over $1 trillion to produce this crap, man. To produce this crap. That's it, really. F-22, I guess, great plane. First fifth generation plane, and I would not say any bad about F-22 because it's reliable, very few accidents with F-22. They are top planes for sure, but when it comes to F-35s, man, I mean, I don't know. And because Washington has influence over the many states all around the world, they are basically forcing these states to buy this crap. F-35s, by the way. Unbelievable, man. When F-22 is better, F-16 is better, F-18 is better, by the way, than this rubbish. Just all other planes that US can produce are better than F-35. But anyway, let's continue. It's good that pilot escaped, by the way. It's good that pilot did manage to escape from that rubbish plane. Let's continue, and RT is reporting, and by the way, they cannot find the crash site. Last time I checked, they were still looking for a crash site of F-35. What is going on in US, man? I don't know. And RT is reporting that South Korea issues warning to North Korea that they will conduct a devastating blow to North Korea if Pyongyang, that's how you say it in English, if North Korea will use nuclear weapons against South. Well, I don't know what happened to President of South Korea. That was stated by President of South Korea, Yoon Suk Yeol. North Korea didn't threaten South Korea, never said that they're gonna strike South Korea with nuclear weapons. This individual just come up with such a crazy statement that they will do some incredible damage to North Korea with, if they will use nukes. Is this person even understands what nukes means? If North Korea will use its nukes, I don't know how many nukes North Korea has, like 10, 15 or whatever. I don't think South Korea will have any means to strike back, really. Because I don't think North Korea will send its nukes in the empty fields, isn't it? And yet again, there was no threats, no nothing from North Korea towards South. So when I see this information, I began checking I will start looking for information. Did Kim Jong-un, current leader of North Korea, threaten South in any ways? Because he is now in Russia, by the way, and it will cause some diplomatic row if Kim Jong-un will say something extreme while he was in Russia. But he did not say nothing. So why this individual coming out with such statement? Who forced him to do so? I don't know, man. probably US demanded this kind of crap statement to be made in response of visit of Kim Chen-in in Russia. And when it comes to that visit, by the way, more and more Russian military experts are now basically openly saying in the Telegram pages and acknowledging possibility that North Korea may supply Russia with some artillery systems, not just field artillery systems, but also with multi-launch rocket systems. Let's see how will what results this visit of Kim Chen-in in Russia will bring to the table. How long is this update? 35 minutes. Plenty of more news, by the way. Plenty more news. Stats news agency is reporting that Sullivan, aide of US president in national security, had talks with head of Chinese foreign ministry. They definitely had many topics to talk about, especially in terms of Taiwan and de-escalation between the sides, because recently, in recent years, relationships between Washington and Beijing definitely are deteriorating, which is bad for both countries and for entire world. And it will be good if these two major economies in this world will find some ways to cooperate and to stop this escalation, constant escalation. But I am quite skeptical about it, by the way. Unfortunately, I don't think these neoliberals and so-called neoliberals and neocons will stop. They don't have a reserve gear. How they gonna stop? They need constant. Basically, they need this constantly to be conducted. This extremely aggressive foreign policy by Washington, because they are, they are sick individuals, those so-called elites, ruling elites of the USA. Let me continue now. And RT is reporting that former French colonies create military alliance. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have signed Sahel Security Pact, and these countries now will operate as one military might to defend themselves, which is forced the decision, by the way, forced decision, because France is still trying to regain control over the Western and the Central Africa and French leadership, by the way. I don't think ordinary citizens of French really want to be involved, really want their country to be involved in internal affairs of African states. But when it comes to the so-called elites of the France or ruling class, or they definitely want, because money and influence, by the way. They were robbing African nations for decades and decades and get very wealthy, and they won't continue very same. But hopefully African nations will rise, and they do rising up against former colonial powers, and entire world should be in support of these African nations, by the way, like Russia is. Also, TASS news agency is reporting that Pashinyan, Prime Minister of Armenia, thinks possible to sign peace agreement with Azerbaijan before end of this year. Well, that will be great, by the way. If Armenia and Azerbaijan will sign peace agreement before end of this year, that will be great development for both countries and for entire southern Caucasus region. And let's hope it will happen. But right now situation is quite extreme when it comes to relationships of the sides and on the border between the Armenia and Azerbaijan, or in Nagorno-Karabakh. And by the way, RIA Novosti is reporting that During the live stream yesterday, I was asked about Kadyrov also, and I did said that he is okay, because the rumors were yet again circulating in internet that Kadyrov died or he is in extremely bad condition. And well, I guess Kadyrov himself was forced to make this video and answer to those rumors. He's quite well and walking on the streets of Grozny, capital of Chechen Republic. So Kadyrov is okay. All those rumors about him is just false. That's it. Fake news. The TASS news agency is reporting that, well, in Russian State Duma, some talks have been conducted about future of YouTube in Russia, and deputy of head of Russian Parliament's committee about informational policies, Anton Gorelkin, did made a statement, did write on his Telegram page that right now there is no risk of blocking YouTube in Russia, and he don't think that blocking of YouTube will be helpful stuff to do. But he also said that Russian content creators have no future on YouTube, on this platform, because it's extremely aggressive towards independent channels, or any channels from Russia, by the way. And I can confirm that. I did see so many times when YouTube is deleting, for example, comments on my channel, views, by the way, views. Just recently, on one of the videos, I did notice that it did reach 6,000 views, and after some time, I did check again, and it was 5,000 views. I did not expect that, even though, excuse me, I know how inadequate YouTube algorithm is and YouTube administration when it comes to independent content creators from Russia, but I did not expect that they will delete views also. So now I just have no idea how many views my videos really have. And of course they are deleting comments, by the way. Once I did notice with my own eyes that up to 50% of comments were deleted. Up to 50%, by the way. It's not just 1, 2 or 3 comments. It's, I mean, you know, and same goes for likes. But well, it's good to know that at least now Russian government has no plan, and Russian MPs have no plans to block YouTube, because as I said yesterday when I was talking about WhatsApp, I mean, blocking is not right way in my understanding to go forward. You have to compete. Yes, it's difficult. It's difficult, but I believe truth will eventually reach people, and people will understand where is true, where is the real people, and where is the fake news and fake people. That's it. So you have to work. It's hard, by the way. I do understand that, and well, it's that much difficult that I'm time to time questioning myself. Maybe I should stop doing this channels and just start looking for a job, because it's not easy. But you know, you have to compete. You have to compete, by the way, always. So, and by the way, also Anton Gorelkin did said that it's necessary some alternative platforms to be created in Russia, alternative video hosting platforms, and we have in Russia several platforms like YouTube. Zen also has some, which is a part of Yandex, also has some video hosting, but they are nowhere near even Rumble, by the way. What to say about YouTube. So they do definitely need more work, more investments to become a top level of platform, and there is demand, isn't it? There is demand for truly for platform that will allow independent content creators to feel free. If Russian companies will manage to do so, they will attract content creators not just from Russia but from all around the world. Let's continue. How long is this video, man? It's 45 minutes. I have to end this video, by the way. I will just go through headlines. RT is reporting that German Chancellor Scholz, Olaf Scholz, not Alex Scholz. German Chancellor Scholz did react on an article in The Economist in which Germany was mentioned as a sick man of the Europe, and the Chancellor said that even though Germany's economy is experiencing some difficulties, comparison is incorrect, and well, that's how Germany have been seen, by the way, because policies of current leadership of Germany definitely are destroying economical potential of this country, and whatever language you're gonna use to describe current situation of Germany, it's not gonna be optimistic one. You're not gonna end up with optimistic headline or sentences, isn't it? Germany is experiencing serious issues when it comes to economy. We are basically witnessing the industrialization of Germany, which will be extremely painful for this country and society of this country, I guess. And all that is happening because of these crazy individuals that are running and ruining Germany. Also, RT is reporting that top finance managers skeptical about London's future, and in this article discussion have been conducted about future of city of London, financial hub, not just UK but entire world, one of the major financial centers. And some social study was conducted in UK among financiers, and the majority of them were quite skeptical about the possibility that city will remain as a top financial center of this world, one of the top, next to New York, which is quite understandable because UK is losing, or already lost, basically attractiveness for investors from Russia, from investors from China, from Middle East. This process is unstoppable. And of course, other states, businesses from other states and businessmen will follow suit, from India, from entire Indo-Pacific region. And eventually London, I guess, will become just one of the financial centers of Europe, just ordinary, like, let's say, Frankfurt is. If I'm not mistaken, Central Bank of Europe is in Frankfurt, isn't it? But anyway, it's all fault of leadership of UK, isn't it? They are destroying reputation of UK as a serious state, and the reputation of financial system of UK. And that's it. RT is also reporting that a mortgage meltdown looming in UK. According to a report here, mortgage is jumping up to 30% in some areas, and many citizens of UK are struggling to pay a mortgage. The value of home loans with late payments rose to 16.9 billion pounds. This is up by 29% in comparison to previous year. And these numbers definitely indicate that, well, UK's economy and many citizens of UK are experiencing quite difficult times, which is very unfortunate, by the way, because we are talking about ordinary people like us. The so-called elites not gonna struggle, by the way. They are millionaires and billionaires. They don't care. But people like us that work for a living, they do care. And whenever I see this type of news, it makes you sad, because you do understand straight away that these difficulties will be experienced by people like you, not by these so-called elites that are basically ruining lives of millions and hundreds of millions of people, by the way, worldwide, if not billions. And by the way, this is going to be last news for today's update. Also, RT is reporting that Canada threatens to fine grocery stores over high prices. Well, that's one more example that situation in economy in the major Western states are not as good as one may think. I did not expect that inflation in Canada is in such levels that now government have to get involved and basically threaten grocery stores to keep prices down. Our members of our community from Canada will probably share with us additional information about inflation. Is it that big a crisis so that grocery stores receiving threats from government? I mean, what is happening? This is quite strange stuff to see, isn't it? Usually governments are operating with economical means to influence inflation. They are not threatening nobody, because I don't think it will work. But anyway, this is it for now. Hopefully you will find this update interesting, and if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary about any topic you like. I just mentioned this extremely aggressive algorithm of YouTube, and to reach wider audience, one of the ways to somehow reach wider audience is more likes and comments. And for very same reason, if you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends on platforms internet platforms that you are active on. And if you think this channel is and this project, by the way, is interesting and deserves to exist, please consider to support with small donations through PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. You will see links under this video in description box or in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day and successful new week. Take care.